We've all been taught about kings and conquests, but what about the farmer, the baker, the ordinary people of ancient Sumer? They lived, loved, and struggled much like us, thousands of years ago in Mesopotamia. Their stories, often overlooked, are etched into the very earth they walked upon on humble clay tablets, waiting for us to listen. For centuries, these silent scribes held the secrets of daily life in Sumer. Not the grand proclamations of rulers, but the mundane, the intimate, the utterly human details of a civilization that laid the groundwork for so much of our own. Imagine a world where the written word was a miracle, not a given. Cuneiform, Sumer's ingenious wedge-shaped script, wasn't just for epic poems or royal decrees. It was for bills, letters, school exercises, even complaints to the local council. And it's through these everyday records that we find a window into their world, seeing beyond the ziggurates and the myths. We begin to understand the rhythm of their days, the challenges they faced, and the simple joys they found. Take, for instance, the family unit. Life revolved around the household, often extended, with parents, children, and sometimes grandparents or even servants living under one roof. The father was typically the head, but mothers held significant sway within the domestic sphere. Tablets record marriage contracts, dowries, and even divorce proceedings. A wife could own property, engage in business, and even represent herself in court, a surprising degree of autonomy for the ancient world. Wouldn't you agree? Children, of course, were central. They learned from their parents, helping with chores, and for boys, often attending the adaba, the tablet house, or school. Here, they'd spend years mastering the complex cuneiform script. Imagine the sheer dedication. To become a scribe was to gain power and status, to be one of the few who could bridge the gap between spoken word and lasting record. It was a rigorous, often tedious education, as evidenced by surviving mistake tablets. What did they eat? The staples were barley and wheat, turned into bread and a kind of porridge. Beer made from fermented barley was a daily beverage safer than water and a source of nutrition. Dates, fish from the rivers, and occasional meat rounded out their diet. Agriculture was the lifeblood of Sumer. The Tigris and Euphrates rivers, while providing fertile soil, also brought unpredictable floods. Sophisticated irrigation systems, built and maintained by communities, were crucial for survival. This constant battle with nature fostered a strong sense of community. Labor was often communal, whether building canals, harvesting crops, or constructing temples. Shared effort was essential for the prosperity of the entire city-state. Housing varied, but most homes were made of sun-dried mud bricks, often 2 stories high, built around a central courtyard. The flat roofs were used for sleeping during hot summer nights or for drying goods. Clothing was simple linen or wool tunics for men, draped garments for women, often belted. The climate dictated practicality over elaborate fashion. Hygiene was important, with tablets detailing bathing rituals and even early forms of dentistry. But life wasn't just toil. They had leisure activities too. Board games like the Royal Game of were popular. Music, dance, and storytelling were integral to their culture, often performed at festivals or private gatherings. Religion permeated every aspect of their lives. Each city-state had its patron deity, and elaborate ziggurates rose high, connecting the earthly realm with the divine. Priests and priestesses held immense power and influence. Tablets record prayers, omens, and even complaints to the gods. One tablet describes a man lamenting his misfortunes, wondering why the gods have abandoned him, a timeless human cry of despair. Justice was administered through a codified legal system, one of the earliest known. While Hammurabi's code came later, Sumerian city-states had their own laws. Disputes over land, property, and debt were common, filling many a clay tablet. Trade was vital. Sumer lacked many raw materials like timber and metals, so they traded their abundant agricultural surplus for goods from distant lands: Dilmun, Magan, Meluha. The first globalized economy, perhaps. The hustle and bustle of the marketplace would have been a sensory explosion. The smell of spices, the chatter of merchants, the clinking of copper, and the constant negotiation over prices, all recorded on those ubiquitous clay tablets. Even the concept of time was meticulously tracked. The Sumerians developed a sexagesimal base 60 system, which gave us 60 minutes in an hour and 360 degrees in a circle. Their astronomical observations were remarkably advanced. From medical texts detailing remedies for ailments to literary works like the Epic of Gilgamesh, these tablets offer a panorama of human experience. They show us anxieties about death, celebrations of life, and the universal search for meaning. The silent scribes of Sumer, with their simple clay and reed styluses, inadvertently created a time capsule. A direct line to the thoughts and feelings of people who lived millennia ago, reminding us that fundamentally we are not so different. Their daily routines, their worries about harvests, their family squabbles, their prayers for good fortune, these are the threads that weave the rich tapestry of early civilization. And it's a tapestry still being unrolled, one deciphered tablet at a time. The next time you think of ancient history, remember not just the kings and battles, but the unnamed individuals whose everyday lives echo across the millennia, whispering their stories through the silent scribes of Sumer. Join us next time as we uncover the surprising origins of ancient board games.